This is the final warning. You are licensed. Get off our property. Comply or face the consequences. Says they're calling the police.
The first warning letter arrived on a Monday morning. By Friday, we had 7. And that's when I realized this wasn't about rules anymore. This HOA-Karen had decided my family was her target. Before we get into it, hit like, subscribe, and share this story because HOA nightmares like this happen more than you think. And tell me where you're watching from in the comments. I read every single one. When we moved into the neighborhood, it felt like a dream. Quiet streets, clean sidewalks, kids riding bikes without fear. The HOA rules were strict, sure, but manageable, or so we thought. Then Karen noticed us. She was the HOA volunteer, which really meant self-appointed sheriff, clipboard always in hand, sunglasses permanently glued to her face. She smiled the first time we met, but it didn't reach her eyes. 2 weeks later, the letters started. Trash bin visible for 11 minutes past pickup. Garage door open longer than allowed. Children's chalk drawings considered vandalism. We laughed at first. Who wouldn't? It felt petty, almost funny. Then the fines followed. $50, $75, $150. Every letter quoted a different subsection of the HOA bylaws. Rules no normal human would ever memorize. Somehow, Karen knew them all. Or worse, she twisted them. My kids stopped playing outside. My wife stopped opening the mail. Every knock on the door made our stomachs drop. And the scariest part? Karen wasn't done. She was just getting started. The violations stopped feeling random once we noticed the pattern. Every letter arrived after Karen walked past our house. She'd slow down, pretend to check her phone, tilt her head like she was inspecting a crime scene. Sometimes she'd even take photos of our driveway, our windows, our lawn, our lives. One afternoon I confronted her. I asked politely what exactly we were doing wrong. She smiled, that same tight, joyless smile. "I don't make the rules," she said. "I just enforce them." 2 days later, we received 9 violation notices at once. Not spread out, not staggered, all dated the same day. Apparently our grass was 0.7 inches too tall, our mailbox color was slightly faded, our curtains were non-neutral. A plant we didn't even recognize was labeled an unauthorized landscaping alteration. The fines jumped from hundreds to thousands. We requested a hearing. Karen chaired it. She read the violations out loud like she was enjoying it, correcting pronunciations, emphasizing dollar amounts, sighing dramatically when we tried to speak. When my wife started crying, Karen slid a packet across the table. "Failure to comply," she said calmly, "can result in liens or worse." That night, I realized this wasn't about compliance. This was about control. Karen had found a loophole in the system, and she was using it to bleed us dry, one rule at a time. And the HOA board? Silent, afraid, or complicit. And then came the letter that changed everything. The one that threatened our home. The envelope was thicker than the others. That's how I knew this one was different. Inside was a notice of intent to place a lien on our home over violations that, combined, added up to more than $18,000. No court, no judge, just Karen's signature and the HOA seal stamped like a weapon. My wife sat on the kitchen floor and sobbed. I called the HOA management company. Voicemail. I emailed the board. Automated reply. I knocked on Karen's door. She opened it slowly, like she'd been expecting me. "I warned you," she said, not unkindly. "Rules exist for a reason." I asked her why our family was the only one being fined this aggressively. I asked why other homes with worse violations were untouched. She leaned closer and lowered her voice. "Some people don't belong here," she said. That sentence broke something in me. I started documenting everything. Dates, photos, video, screenshots of emails unanswered, footage of other violations Karen ignored, boats in driveways, broken fences, overgrown lawns. Then I found it, a private HOA email thread Karen forgot to delete me from. In it, she bragged about teaching our family a lesson and joked about how quickly fines could force compliance or eviction. That night, I realized we had 2 choices: disappear quietly or fight back publicly. And Karen had no idea what she just handed me. I didn't confront Karen again. I went quiet. That scared her more than yelling ever could. Instead, I sent the evidence to a real estate attorney who specialized in HOA abuse. Then I forwarded the email thread, Karen's own words, to the HOA board, the management company, and a local investigative journalist who had covered HOA scandals before. Within 72 hours, everything changed. The management company suddenly found my emails. The board scheduled an emergency meeting. Karen stopped walking past our house. At the hearing, Karen tried to play innocent. She said she was just doing her duty. But the lawyer laid everything out: selective enforcement, harassment, emotional distress, and abuse of authority. Then the journalists spoke. Karen's emails were already being reviewed for publication. The room went silent. 2 weeks later, every fine against us was voided. The lien threat was withdrawn. Karen was stripped of her enforcement role and quietly removed from the HOA board. But that wasn't the end. 3 families came forward after hearing our story. Families Karen had bullied into selling their homes. A lawsuit followed. Settlements were paid. New HOA rules were written. Transparency became mandatory. Karen moved out 6 months later. The same woman who tried to erase us couldn't stand being seen. So here's my question for you. If an HOA targeted your family like this, would you fight back or walk away? Tell me your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if this opened your eyes, like, share and subscribe. These stories matter, and the more we tell them, the less power people like Karen have.